Hello, Nishi ma'am. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Kriti? All good. I hope everyone is safe at your place.
Yes, everything is going well and hope everyone is doing safe as well from your end too. So, what's happening around? What's going on?
Everything is good in terms of just one thing that we all are working from home, stuck with the screen, not able to enjoy the kind of the life that we were used to a few years back. So pandemic has seriously hit us hard in a way that we can't travel, we can't go and meet your people that you want to spend time with. And of course, food is one thing that we all cherish. And we can't go to have good food outside. So that's one thing, but all in all, it's good that we all people have learned to respect humanity in general when the pandemic has hit us hard. So this is how it is going.
Absolutely. So true. We need to take our precautions for our safety and our health. Okay.
That's true. That's true.
So, let's begin with a brief introduction about you. Kindly introduce yourself to the people watching.
Okay. Hi, everyone. This is Nishi. I work in the admissions office of Jindal Global University. I've spent close to 7 years in Jindal. And from past 4 years, I've been taking care of the admissions and the outreach activities for Jindal School of Liberal Arts and Humanities. I have close to 12 years of experience. And the most important thing that I have learned in this 12 years of experience is that the kind of the education that we have got in the past in 2000s is entirely different from what the students are getting in right now. So there is a new learning in every set of dimension that we are following in our career. Uh, Plus, it's a good experience all in all together to be with young students like you all.
Right, absolutely. A warm welcome to you on Journey Teachers.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so the very
And
first
it's been
question.
my pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. The very first question for you is, how will you differentiate Jindal School of Liberal Arts and Humanities with respect to others? What is the differentiating factors?
Well, I would say that the beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. That is, the students decide where and what they want to choose. But most importantly, if you want to specify me to talk about Jindal School of Liberal Arts and Humanities, I can say that this is one of the most unique schools imparting liberal arts education in India, which does not just focuses on the kind of the studies or the modules that you study throughout the your 3 years of education, but it also helps in your holistic development, or what you write, what you do, what your daily activities look like, what is your learning in total, small batch sizes, right? Going out for excursions, for trips, doing research work. And most importantly is the bonfire, which most of the students do during their after their classes near the flagpole. So I think it's a very close knit set of these students that we have at JSLH, and the kind of the hand holding that we do from the time that students have filled in the application to the time they graduate is the most important thing, which is unique amongst all the I would say universities imparting liberal arts education.
Absolutely, so delighted to hear that. So, Jindal School of Liberal Arts and Humanities basically offers the interdisciplinary kind of education which is required in the students these days.
Yes, I would agree to it in a fact that most of the universities in India nowadays, all the private universities are following the interdisciplinary education. You talk about Jindal, you talk about Ashoka, you talk about Korea, you talk about Flame. There are a hell lot of universities which are imparting interdisciplinary education. But what Jindal offers is your requirement, your need, your development at the top rather than anything else that the student needs, right? Because for us, it's most important what as a student require. I'll just give you an example. Last year during the admissions process, we had a student, I'm not quoting his name, who had 70% of visual disability. Now, this student was rejected by most of the top-notch universities in India, which are imparting liberal arts education. And in general terms, when we talk about liberal arts education, it's actually imparting education to each and every set of these students that are there in India, right? So what we did was we created, helped the student to understand what his needs were through a liberal arts degree and helped him out through the process. And now he's applying to the top-notch Ivy League universities for his immersion program. So that is the kind of the hand-holding that we are providing, which is much better as compared to that of any other university.
So just love this example, and OP Jindal School literally provides the customized help for students to, to enrich their experience. So
Yeah,
okay.
that's right.
Okay. So why should students join OP Jindal Global University? Let's see how you answer this frequently asked question as in an interview.
Well, I will answer this question not as an employee working in Jindal Global University, but I will answer this question as a student. If I were a student in a university, what are the kind of the things that I would have looked out for? One is, of course, the kind of the faculty that are teaching you here, right? And second would be, how do my college life look like? Would I be going to a college which is liberal, which is providing me the right kind of the education, good food, good infrastructure, and most importantly, are my peer group members from the same or different kind of communities, where they are coming from, what they want to do? I would have looked at all those parameters, not as a parent who are looking at the placements or the rankings or any other thing, but what my life would look like being in a college. I would have looked out at that parameter. So I think JGU fulfills all those criteria which a student look out for. I'm not answering this question as an employee, because an employee would, oh, we have good rankings, we have a good infrastructure, we have this, but will my passion get fulfilled while studying in a particular university is the most important thing that a student would look forward for. And I think JHU has the kind of the community in terms of your societies, in terms of the clubs, in terms of the liberty that you want for your self-development is the most important thing.
Definitely. I really love your honest remarks about the university and its process. Okay. So what does the application and selection process in OP Jindal Global University look like? From the university's point of view, what does the university looking for the student it wants to have?
Most importantly, JGU, under the umbrella of JGU, there are 12 schools, and we offer more than 40 programs at JGU, taking the online courses also into consideration. Every program is unique in itself, but so to say, for example, for law school, if you're applying for the law school, you have to complete an application, register for LSAT examination, and then you complete your other formalities. So you have to have a requisite score of LSAT to be a part of the BA or BCom or BDLLB program at Jindal. It entirely changes for the business school and the humanities school. For example, application, how well you have written your application or the personal statement, have you given SAT or ACT or the JSAT examination, for that matter, is the other eligibility criteria that the people are looking at for business and the humanities school. Most importantly, the detailed version of all these things you can go and check on the website, but different schools have different eligibility criteria so as to select these students. Most important thing that I would like to focus on is that the pandemic also taught us about the fact that marks and the scores that you get in your grade 12, right, are not that important, because you go through a process You have application, you have entrance exam, you go through a faculty interview, and you go through you write an SOP or a statement of purpose. You go through a process. You get to know what do you want in a student and what his or her aspirational goals are looking like for. Where does the marks come in picture? So I think at JGU last year, we took up a decision that we will not be considering 70 or 80 or 90% marks into consideration. A student who is passed in board examination can very well apply, go through the 4-step process that we have, which is completing the application, then writing a personal statement, going through a faculty interview, and then an entrance exam. Because for a 12th grade student, it is a process that he or she is not only just applying for Jindal, but is also applying for the other universities. And it is too much of pressure on them. So as to reduce this pressure, we have this in your introduce this policy.
Absolutely. And what I loved about the process is that Jindal not only considers the only the academics part of the things, but extracurriculars are given much more importance in this university too. Also, before the faculty interview, one goes through the screening process as well of the entire application and receives a phone call too. Right.
Yeah, that's right. And what we do is, as I said in the previous answer that I've given, that the proper hand holding is required. It's not us who are recruiting these students, it's the student also vice versa recruiting a particular university for their undergraduate program. So it's not a one-way process, it's a two-way process. And most of the universities or counselors or people, if they look into it, this would be a wonderful process to go through to understand the needs of a particular student, what they're looking for in an undergraduate degree program.
Absolutely, very well said. Okay, so most of the students ask me about the questions that they will be asked in the interview and how should they prepare for the same, especially because it's a one-on-one faculty interview. Some interview tips would really help.
Okay, technically, I shouldn't be giving the answer to this question because of the fact that most important thing is that every program will have a different set of the questions that will be thrown up to students. But 3 things that I would like to say to the student is that most of the interviewer will like to understand that what you have written in your application form. How have you, is there is there somebody else have they have given the application form, or they have helped you write the application form? One is that they try to understand. Second part is that they also try to understand what is the kind of the academic inclination you possess to pursue the program. Right? Because it's important. If I am applying to a BBA program or a BA in Global Affairs program, am I inclined towards pursuing this? What is my vision? What is my goal in the future looking like is also important. So that if the student is able to answer that question, probably that makes a lot of sense.
Definitely. Students have to be themselves in the interview, and the interview will be a reflection of what they have written in their application, so as to for the university to check them holistically. Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I also get the most is about where should one practice for the entrance examination? How can they clear the exam? And what about the previous year question papers, sample papers, or maybe any kind of reference books?
Okay, so most important thing is that if you're writing SAT or ACT examination, for SAT examination, College Board does give you the kind of the questions that you will be put through, right? Or the American Collegiate test also provides you the sample questions, which you get on your Gmail or Yahoo email ID, which you have registered with them. But JSAT, if you register for JSAT, which is the Jindal Scholastic Aptitude Test, also helps you out to understand what is the different kind of the set of the questions that would be asked to you during a 2.5 hours of examination that we conduct. So there are 3 sets of questions that would be asked to the students, which is in the form of logical reasoning, English comprehension, and quantitative aptitude. With each of this carry 40 marks each, and they can go to the Pearson's website and download the sample papers. You can also write to your counselor at Jindal that you need extra sample papers to prepare that for. And I think they provide it to you beforehand you're writing the examination.
This is a really great option for students to consider, that they can directly reach out to the university instead of trusting any other website. So it's a great option that the university provides. Okay, so a lot of the prospective students ask me the questions about the fees being high, for it is a private university, and the scholarships being available accordingly depending upon a lot of factors. So what do you have to say about this?
So most importantly, we also understood that after the 2 consecutive years of pandemic that we all have faced, right? Jindal very consciously took up the decision that we slightly reduced down to our fee structure, which you can find it out, the details on the fee structure on the website. Most importantly, we do provide financial aid to the student. And the kind of the criteria that follow is a very logical, I would say, and very thought through process of providing the scholarship to the student. So we take the parental income of the parents into consideration along with the academic performance of the student. So that somebody who is willing to study and willing to consider JGU and not having that pocket with them to apply to JGU can also look at JGU as one of their options to study at their undergraduate program. And we do provide scholarships that is on the tuition fee, which ranges from a 10% waiver in the tuition fee, and the highest goes up to a 50% waiver in the tuition fee. And most importantly, that every year Jindal offers scholarship to close to 750 to 1,000 students out of 5,000-6,000 students applying, taking admission at JGU. So which is a huge number.
Absolutely. JGU is opening doors for every student who is deservable and who is looking to study in JGU and experience that holistic kind of education. And if you are deserving, if you are capable, and if you have that talent with yourself, JGU will not let you go. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. So it's not just one parameter of your, I would say, your academic performance that is taken into consideration. How well you have participated in the extra co-curricular activities, national awards, international awards. Is your parent a single parent or not? And do you have any other siblings studying at JGU? Or have you participated, have you written any blogs for that matter? And have you won any prizes for that? Every small detail of a student is given consideration for giving these scholarships. So it's a very thought through, elaborative process of providing a scholarship to a student at JGU.
Exactly. Okay. So how would you differentiate the way OP Jindal Global University looks at the weightage given to the academics and the co-curricular activities?
Well, this is a great question. I would say that if you're applying to JGU, right, or if you're a student at JGU, so there are 2 different things that we would talk about. One, if you're applying to JGU, we don't have any quotas for that matter while we are selecting or recruiting these students, but we do consider a student who has got a 70% in grade 12, but was good at sports, right? We have also recruited the student who has got a 98% in grade 12, but did not participate in anything. So we are looking at a holistic bunch of these students that come to us. What we are looking at is I would say exclusivity. What a student bring it on the table while they are applying at JGO for different set of the program. If you are unique, if you are experimentative, if you are exclusive as compared to that kind of the people who are applying to us, you are yes in Jindal. Second thing, we try to create a balance between academics and the extracurricular activities, because we at JGU also believe that the extracurricular activities are extremely important for a student to flourish. It's not just about what you bring it on a piece of paper and you get a degree. It's also what you are bringing in for the community or the society that you are going to be in. So for us, it's a balance of 50% academics, 50% your extracurricular activities. The balance is extremely important that we take into consideration while you are here or if you are applying to JGU.
Okay, so what I have understood is JGU is not that kind of university which only focuses on the academics and follows the conventional mode of education, but it looks on the overall application of the student, considering the academics and giving equal importance to the co-curriculars, which is very appreciating as well. Okay.
Yeah, because it's important that it's not just the university growing in, but it's also the student growing in simultaneously with the university or within the system that you are in.
Definitely. Okay. So JGU is also well known for the law domain, and the placements are the highest in that, right? So what's your take on other courses and the placements related to that? Should students look at enrolling only in the law school because it's primarily known for it?
Okay, this is a very honest question and often frequently asked question when a parent or a student come to JGU. Oh, we haven't heard about this school at JGU. This is the most frequently asked question. And I have one reply to this, and which is a very honest reply, that initially when I joined Jindal 7 years back, I also thought that, oh, this is the law school famous. But then I realized all the numbers that come into JGLS, which is Jindal Global Law School, as compared to that of any other school. So the thing is that, yes, Jindal Global Law School is famous, and it's the top-notch law school in India, and the kind of the placements that they offer and the internships that they offer are phenomenal. However, they recruit 1,500 students, which is like 1/4 of the bunch that is coming to JGU. And the rest of the schools have a share of 120 student or 180 student or 60 students for that matter. So that is why people get confused that it's the law school that's famous. But if you talk about Jindal School of Liberal Arts and Humanities, it's famous. You talk about Jindal School of International Affairs, it's famous. People from abroad take up the admission, come and take up the admission in the MADLB program, and and the other programs. It's the intensity of the number, I would say, that really matters. And if you talk about the quality of the education, that is never compromised within any other schools of JGU.
Okay. So law school is one of the India's best law school, Jindal, which is offered by Open Jindal Global University. And considering the numbers you have stated, so other schools have equal importance, and they do carry equal importance in terms of quality education.
That's
Okay.
right.
Okay. So what are the opportunities that students can get during their time in the university and even after passing out? How does the university life influence a student's life?
Here there are two questions that you have asked me. The first important thing that I would like to answer, and that's the first question here, is that what does a student life looks like when they are here in JGU? And what are the kind of the things that they do, and what are the kind of the things that they can explore? I would say Monday to Friday, they're busy with their classes, right? And Saturdays and Sundays are the time where they get involved in a lot of extracurricular activities, right? Starting from being a part of the society to doing your work, creating your own society, doing work for the events or the cultural thing that are coming in place with that. Because the cultural activities, you talk about Biswamil, you talk about Magnus, you talk about the different festivals created by the student, every single thing, from creating an event to conducting an event to getting a host for that event, getting sponsorship for that event is done by the student. So it's not just a single work, but it's a hell lot of work, teamwork, and time management, and getting the to understand the business ethics. Everything goes in place, and this is this life. And let me tell you, hanging out at coffee zones, spending time eating momos, or enjoying the Domino's pizza at the restaurant and thinking about your next 3 years move is also a very important thing that a student at GGU does. Who had ever thought of that a startup called Sleepy Owl would take up that charge uh, by the students of the law school who are just enjoying the chai at chai tapri, right? So that is the kind of the work and the discussions that the student involved in. If you talk about technical aspects, the days of the student look like spending their 6 to 8 hours in their lectures. Most of the lectures are extending from an hour to hour and a half, and then they have a break in between, and then they have their next class. Evenings, either they are busy with their assignments or group reports, or they have their research projects that they spend their time in. Most importantly, after a completion of the semester, when your transition from a school to a residential university or college has happened, students start applying to internships, which is also a major important part of their life. You get an email from the Office of the Career Services. You get options according to your interest and the skills that you possess to pursue a program. You apply to foreign universities for your summer school or your winter school or your immersion program for that matter. So there are a kind of the activities that the student get involved in. And there are open lectures, guest lecture series. You also get to travel to different places to attend certain competitions on lectures. So there are a lot of activities at GGU that happens. As far as if you ask me as an employee, there is no day without an event at GGU. Every day is an eventful day at GGU.
This is absolutely so interesting and exciting for me to hear this. And the university is so happening, and there's no like, the student will never get bored at GGU. Okay. So
and that's absolutely true.
Right. So do you think these kinds of activities and, these kinds of events and this kind of exposure the students can get online as well?
Well, I would say I would be very honest and curt when it comes to this thing that online education is a mode of education which cannot replace your physical or an offline mode of education. Very true. I will agree to the fact that we cannot replace your physical classes by an online classes. But there is a kind of the creativity that the people can bring in, which we were not introduced to earlier. For example, who knew that the Zoom would be the new normal for us? Who thought that we could do activities or group activities through a Zoom or a team meetings call, right? Who thought that you can send in assignments, create that, edit that, and send it through the teams, right? So I think this is the kind of the new normal that we are following. But yeah, but yes, incomparable to the physical classes that we had in the past. We all crave for talking to each other, listening to their stories, understanding their stories, hanging hand in hand together, and discussing the kind of the future that we all look forward for. But there is a gap.
Absolutely. So, for all the students watching, this is the time for you. This is like a testing time for you when you have to adapt yourself in the online world. And when the physical classes will open, and it will definitely soon. So, you will have the kind of exposure which Nishi ma'am is talking about at JGU for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to ask you is that what if the students think that she has done well in each step, but is not being selected by the university and the university doesn't specify a particular reason? So should the student look at reapplying the same year, or what should be done in such a case?
Well, at JTU, we are very honest in telling a student, why didn't you pass in, which is not there in most of the universities, right? So for example, if you have rejected a student, I'm just quoting an example for you.
Yeah.
And this is with respect to the School of Liberal Arts and Humanities, because we are looking at just 150 students. But the influx of the applications that we get at JSLH is higher. It's like close to 1,000 applications, and then we select 150 or 180 student. If you haven't selected any student, we tell them, look, you haven't passed in the entrance exam, or there was a scope in for you to perform better in your faculty interview, which you did not. Or probably there was a lack in the kind of the submission of the personal statement that you have given it to us. Redo it. The counselors, and that's what is called the hand holding through your admissions process. Redo it, correct it. We help the student. You have to write this. You have to have, we also do help you out with the interview process. You have to answer this. You have to take up this. So we at JGU do specify them that this is what the faculty felt, or this is not the kind of the scores that we had looked forward for an entrance exam, and that is why we have rejected you. Yes, the student who has been rejected can apply to subsequent year, and they can apply to different program. Within the same year also, they are there is a liberty to them to apply to different program. For example, if somebody has been rejected by law school, or maybe their LSAT score was not up to the mark, they can very well apply to a BBA program, or BA in liberal arts, or BA in psychology, depending upon what their interests are there for them.
Definitely, this is the unique trait about JGU, that it specifies a reason and it actually helps for the student to as to where they can improve in the entire process, maybe the entrance examination, maybe the personal statement, or maybe in the interview. So this is a great opportunity for all the students. Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So does getting selected depend upon in which cycle does one apply? Is that the student applying in the earlier round has more chances of getting selected as compared to the one who is applying in the last round?
Well, this is a great question. So we have 4 to 5 admission cycles, which start in from the month of November, and it goes up to the month of May and June 15th, right? So I would suggest, and as an admissions person, I would suggest the student to apply at an early stage. And I have a very specific reason giving to what I've said, because we also do understand that the student apply to a lot of universities for a particular program, right? Whether it is liberal arts or psychology, you apply to different programs. You apply to different universities for a different program. So do apply at an early stage, which gives you the liberty to understand the kind of the program a university, or the kind of the uniqueness a university is bringing in, right? What are their faculty looking like? How is the student life looking like? what are the kind of the international collaborations that a university has, or the kind of the internship opportunities that you are getting in a particular program in an X university vis-a-vis JGU. So I think you get an ample amount of time to understand what actually do you want for yourself if you are applying to a particular university. Plus, you also have time to visit the university, look out for yourself what you exactly feel through your undergraduate degree program. So if you apply at a later stage, for example, you are applying to a lot of universities in a hurry. You don't write a good personal statement. That impacts your application. You are in a hurry of applying to so many places that you also don't prepare well for your entrance exam or for your faculty interview. That probably diminishes the chance for a university to select you. So I would say that if you are a student dedicated towards applying to a particular university or to a particular program, you should apply at an early stage so that you have a bit of offers in your hand to understand and visualize what actually does your undergraduate degree looks like, or what do you want through your undergraduate degree, or does your aspirational goals get fulfilled through a particular university's undergraduate degree program. So you have choice in your hand to do if you apply at an early stage.
Absolutely. So you got to choose according to yourself, and the earlier you apply, the more opportunities you will get.
True.
Thank you so much for the previous answer. So the next question for you is, I see the students are really passionate and they're dedicatedly working hard to get inside the JGU. Many of them share with me how they would feel after getting inside and experiencing that kind of freedom in whatever the subjects they want to study, and basically experience the holistic and interdisciplinary nature of education and a wonderful university life. So, what, according to you, would be the overall suggestions you want to give to these aspiring students? How can one fulfill one dreams of getting inside this university?
I would suggest these students who are applying to different programs at JGU in a way that uh, it's important for them to understand that there are education institutions in India which are imparting the best education which is available globally. However, at the same time, they should also understand that what makes them passionate to join a particular university. It's an important question that they should be asking themselves. And when they ask that themselves, probably they write one of their best applications. It has to be real in a sense, because what the universities like us are trying to create is a potential in the market through the kind of the students that are applying for, and that potential, that exclusivity comes in with the student while they are projecting a kind of passion in their application. So the raw it is, the real it is what I feel. So I think it's most important for them to understand that every student is unique, right? Every student has a kind of the exclusivity in a different sense, and that has to be portrayed in their application form. The second important thing is I would feel, and I would like to give it to these students, is that marks are important. I agree. You all are busy with your board examination preparation and everything. But there is a life behind the numbers that you are chasing for, right? And that is understanding your interests and the skills. Because if you develop your interest and skills, you work on them, there is a lifelong for you to understand that there is a life without these numbers. So I'll give you a simple example that has happened. This was about my first interview when I went, and I was very nervous because this was my first interview coming from a middle class family. Getting the job was extremely important for me. But then I showed that this is my degree, this is my number, and this is what I've got. I've got these many degrees, I've done these courses, and this is the academic ex, excellence that I bring into you. Then the person who was recruiting me asked me a simple question, and that's, can you work on Excel? Can you go road to road, school to school, and inspire the students with the lecture that you bring in? I don't want to see this. And that was a turning point for me, to understand the fact that nobody asks for your numbers when you go and do a job. They ask for your interest, skills, and passion that you possess to pursue a particular job or the things that you are passionate about. So I would suggest that concentrate on the numbers. Academics are important. It brings in value to your life. But at the same point in time, working on your interests and the skills are extremely important, because you are unique in yourself and you have to try projecting it every now and then if you want to sustain in your life. And most importantly, is a theory that I've learned because I'm a science student. And there is a Charles Darwin theory that the fittest survival of the fittest, right? And but if you see the unique also survive, you also see that the fit who is in every parameter also survive. So that parameter a student has to bring in on to, right? Whether it is your academics, whether it is personal life, whether it is your professional life, whether it is your social life, or whether it is your cultural life for that matter, or whether it is your health, which is extremely important. You have to bring in the balance in everything. And that is how you survive. So this is what I want to tell these students, that believe in yourself, and that's the most important thing.
Wonderful conclusion to this insightful session. Not just the students, but I myself have learned so much from you and your valuable suggestions, not just about the university, but about life in general as well. So, thank you so much for coming on my channel and helping these students out. So, you want
Thank
to
you so
talk?
much, Kriti.
Yeah. So, you want to talk about the ways in which the students can reach out to you in case of queries regarding anything?
Probably you can share in my email ID or my number. I can share my coordinates with you. My number is 8386907376. They can reach out to me, or they can drop me an email. It's there on the website, nmishra@jgu.edu.in. I'll be happy to help them out with any of the queries that they have.
Absolutely. I will drop these details in the description below. They can check them out from there. Thank you so much for coming, and I wish all the students very best for their university's application process, and the inspiring students like they want to get inside GTU. I wish them all the very best, and you can definitely reach out to Nishi ma'am anytime, and she would be really happy to help you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming here. And this was wonderful. It was really wonderful to talk to you. And you have provided really amazing and cool suggestions to the students.
Thank you so much, Kriti. It was my pleasure to be on your channel, and it was a great initiative, by the way. Though it was a short notice, but I wanted to do it as a gesture that we have connected. I would also have a suggestion for these students. If you want to like our channel, go and subscribe that. And there are certain wonderful insights on the channel that I have recently found out. So probably you could just go and check out the channel for yourself.
Thank you. Thank you so much. How did you like the interview? How did you like me as a host?
It was great. It was the questions were interesting. They were real. I would say that was coming from a student, right, to a person who was dealing with the admissions. And most importantly, it was creative. It was for the students in this particular pandemic time. So thank you so much. The questions were really good.
Thank you. It's my humble pleasure. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Kriti. It was wonderful meeting you again on your channel. And if you have anything, probably just reach out to us. We'll be happy to help you out.
Thank you. Thank you so much.